With Crafting Sandbox, you have one-click cloud environments for developing or testing your product at the fingertips of anyone in your team. The environments are hosted on cloud, so the developers don't need to worry about setup and maintenance and enjoy a full on-demand experience. Let's see how it works. Based on the architecture of your app, you can just one click to launch a sandbox with all the services in your app from our web console. In this demo, we are using an app with 3 main services, 2 services from standard containers, and 2 dependency services for data. As you can see on the screen, the 3 main services include a front-end in JavaScript, an API server in Rails, and a back-end server in Go. They are supported by Kafka and Zookeeper for asynchronous processing, and MySQL, MongoDB as data stores. Once we click Launch, a new sandbox is created, and the services are being set up. During the setup, you can check how the setup tasks get executed by going into each workspace that is in progress. It automatically provisions the container, sets up the file system, personalizes the environment, checks out code, builds, and launches the service process. The setup is based on your existing configs and fully customizable by you. Once all the services in the app are set up and running, you get a production-like dev environment that is ready to go. With the newly created sandbox, you can access any internet-facing endpoint and it runs your product end-to-end. Here, we open the front-end endpoint, which is backed by the front-end service we just set up in the sandbox. You can see that the product page loads with our sandbox URL. It is a self-contained environment with all the services running in their own containers, just like production. Now let's go back to the web console and look at details of one workspace. In the details, we can see what repos it checks out, what processes are running, and what packages it has installed, etc. We can see that in this workspace, there's one process called Node running already, and we can take actions on it or see the log in a new browser window. We can inspect the log generated by the process here, and it's very important for debugging. Going back to the web console, we can see that the workspace has checked out for front-end repo, which is on the master branch, with this commit and how recent the code is. We can open a web IDE from right here to make modifications. Right from our console, a web IDE can be opened in another browser window, and you can code right here. We are using the open source VS Code in the browser to provide a familiar experience to developers. It directly opens the source tree checked out in the workspace on cloud with a code editor and a terminal. Now let's open a source file and make changes to the code. You can see the experience is quite similar to your desktop IDE on your local machine. The difference, however, is that once you save the change, the product you already have running end-to-end on your sandbox is changed instantly. We can see that the web page we modified has already picked up the change, as easy as your local dev environment. Given that it's a Git checkout, you can also commit the change right here. Web IDE is very convenient for you to make a quick change from anywhere at any time to your code. In addition to the web console, more powerful functionalities can be achieved using our command line tool. You can SSH into any workspace that you have on your sandbox. By typing CS/SSH, you get to choose a workspace you want to connect to. The workspace is just like a Linux machine with your code checked out and configured. You have full control with sudo permission to your workspace so that you can customize it. With the command line tool, you can also open a desktop IDE on your local machine and connect to the code base on the cloud to directly edit the code there. Like running CS VS Code, it opens up your local VS Code and connects to your workspace in Sandbox via SSH and opens your code base there. You can see our earlier modification here in the code. All major IDEs, including VS Code, IntelliJ, RubyMine, PyCharm, Vim, Emacs, etc., are supported. To have the most familiar local tools and at the same time leverage limitless resources on the cloud, you can just develop one service locally while running all other services it depends on the cloud, so that they don't consume your local resources and slow down your local machine. By running CS port forward, Your local is connected with cloud dependencies with local port forwarding. This hybrid mode can maximize your productivity with a minimal learning curve. On the Crafting Sandbox platform, you can create as many sandboxes as you like on demand for different purposes. You can create them just for one code change or keep using them as your primary environment, whichever fits your style. Using our web console, you can manage your sandboxes, and they will be suspended automatically if they are idle, saving you a great deal of computing power. You will never lose your change like other ephemeral environments. Whenever you modify a file in your workspace, all changes are automatically saved into persistent volume, allowing you to continue your work from where you left off. With Crafting Sandbox, members of your team can leverage production-like dev environments with a click. With a pre-configured, ready-to-code environment, new engineers can onboard instantly and get up to speed quickly with the team. For veteran team members, having on-demand environments for multitasking can boost their productivity. Discover the potential of Crafting Sandbox with a free trial at crafting.dev today.